It is an awesome day here at Inside the Mastermind because I have two great guests, Maria Corbisiero and Colby Kibodeaux.
Hello.
Guys, that was a tongue twister. I did it.
You did great. Thank you.
Thank you. I love having you guys, and I'm super excited to talk about flipping. Obviously, that's a huge passion of mine, is what we do. But maybe you can shed some light with the viewers on, is it possible to make money on flipping homes in San Diego?
Absolutely, yes. It's not as easy as HGTV makes it look.
No,
and
not as quick, maybe?
Yeah,
right.
Within 40 minutes, you have a beautiful home transformed. It's a little bit of a longer process and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. But yes, you can absolutely make money. And I have a few recommendations that if you haven't done it in a while or are new to doing it, but you're definitely intrigued and you have some money to play with, yes, you can make a lot of money doing it.
So let's share some tidbits, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the first thing is to make sure that you have some sort of financing plan lined up. So whether you're going to go with investors or to work with a hard money lender or do some sort of other financing, there's a lot of creative ways to get the funds to be able to do it. But that's probably the first step, is to make sure, how are you going to pay for this project?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of reserves do you have in place for delays or anything else that comes up with the surprises that get revealed during the project.
Right.
So I would say, have a plan in place and then also have some reserves.
Right. Get that nice cushion in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Definitely. The next thing I would definitely recommend is building your team. It's super important to have your contractor and your people to walk the property and make sure that you guys have your deadlines in place. The next one is a big one. We deal a lot with the permitting process. Right now in San Diego, it's taking a little bit longer than usual. I think the demand's a little higher. So just making sure that you're outlined for these little hiccups that can come up, because permitting is right now a big one.
Right. Is it the wait?
It's the wait. I mean, you think you're going to get like 6 to 12 weeks, and then it turns out to be a little bit longer. You obviously have to do your corrections, and you have to go back and diddle, and you think you're done and then you're not.
Yes.
And that's a big one because, yeah, it just delays the process, and
Right.
It costs money.
it costs
Right.
money every time you do it. But I mean, it gets done. It's good.
How much is approximately the price of the permit?
So because there's school fees, there's permitting, it's about $2,000 for the permit. The school fee was just $2,000 as well. Then you have to go through the fire, the water district. There's a few things, and every city does it differently. So if you're with the county or with the city, or like we're doing one in Poway, they're all a little bit different, but around $4,000 to $5,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine because you're going to make that money up. You just have to be prepared for that.
Exactly. I think that's all, is just setting expectations and having realistic, expectations with the process versus just kind of thinking that it's all going to go off without a hitch, and whatever plan you have on paper, that's what it's going to be.
Right.
Expect the unexpected with a flip.
Right.
And that would be probably my fourth piece of advice, is right now with supply chain issues and inflation, the price of materials has really skyrocketed, and availability of products and materials. So just having vendors and places that you're going to source and procure materials from everything from drywall, lumber to cabinetry, faucets, everything. There's a lot of moving pieces, and it's all very costly, but what's even more costly is when you don't have the material on site. And that can cause even more delays and cost you a lot of time and manpower when they're not able to complete their work because you're missing materials. So I always recommend and suggest, kind of like the other processes, is to have at least 3 quotes in place so that you kind of have an idea of a plan and a backup plan, and if nothing else works, you have a third option for you to get those materials on site quickly.
Right, especially right now. Like, for example, I ordered a microwave and we needed double ovens because the same thing, ours is a fixer-upper. And about 6 months for my microwave and still waiting on stoves.
Yeah.
Or oven, sorry. So yeah, so you just, it's not always the case, but it's wonderful to have, like you said, 2 or 3 options where you have those great backup plans, especially if you have a timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a timeline, so it's okay, but if you have a timeline, it's very important to have those in place.
Yeah, and
Right.
most flips, because there are like holding costs involved, depending on how, again, you finance the project, you want to take that in consideration. If you stay on the If you stay with the project for an additional month, what's that going to cost you by holding those costs if you went with the route of like a hard money lender? So there's different things to factor in, but there's a lot of professionals out there that have done this, you know, hundreds of times that can definitely coach you through it if it's your first time and contribute to you being successful at it.
Right. Okay. So long story short, there's great money to be had in San Diego. Invest wisely, obviously, and then do your homework.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing, obviously, your insight. I think it's a great market to be in. I think it's a wonderful place to place your money, right now, especially. You know, I think real estate, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely, and I think the city of San Diego needs to have more people who are investing in homes and properties in the neighborhoods and conforming and transforming them into really beautiful spaces for buyers who don't have the time, the knowledge, or the willingness to even tackle some of these projects. So I think that, you know, it's a way to give back to our community as well, and for first-time home buyers.
Let's keep beautifying San Diego,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right?
Exactly.
Well, it was a pleasure having you guys in the studio today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you for joining me.
All right.